I'm noticing a trend around social media for the cope preparing for marathon launching as of this video releasing right now. And there's already, before the game even comes out, people on social media coping and preparing just in case that maybe the game doesn't do as good as, I don't know, they've connected their entire ideology and livelihood to, so that if it does fail, they're kind of like, what do we have to cling on to now, bro? We've been concorded out. Every Concord keeps getting knocked out one after another. We'll start with Mighty Keef, who always seems to find a way to jump on the latest trend to say that he loves something every time and try to act like everyone else is wrong for having a different opinion. He says, I think the marathon numbers are going to do well. I don't know how successful it will be, but I think there is enough good gameplay and enough Bungie loyalists to keep this game alive. It really just depended on how fast new content comes out to keep people engaged. Where you could say, oh, that sounds like a fair take. Sure. Except for the fact that he is quickly jumping on people and dunking on people for daring to question the legitimacy of the long term of this game. And you got to wonder if this is maybe a little bit of cope where he's saying, oh, it might not. If they don't have the content coming out in the long run, it might fall apart there. And that I'll blame it on that. Yeah. Or we have Forbes journo, Paul Tassi, quote tweeting, friend of the channel, Kata. Kata says, remember when this other game also was above CSGO, but turned out to be a huge flop? And it's Dragon Age the Veilguard, #1 seller on the top sellers list. Remember Jason Schreier, another journal that said, go woke, go top of the charts? Remember that? But we have Dragon Age the Veilguard here, top of the charts. How well did that do? Paul Tassi quote tweeting with some cope here. I'm not guaranteeing marathon success via chart placement. It should be noted that this is after a few 100,000 people actually played the game on Steam, resulting in the decision to pre-purchase, which wasn't the case for Veilguard. You know what? That's a fair point, but you could easily counter that with, Paul, the game is $20 less, $39.99, so it's less of an investment. And secondly, what else is even coming out right now? Like, sure, Resident Evil 9 was above it the entire time because, of course, Resident Evil 9. But now that everyone's bought Resident Evil 9 that wanted to buy it, what else is even out? So, of course, it's going to be #1 right now. That doesn't mean anything. Giancarlo, these people clearly lack critical thinking because Marathon is nothing like any of those other games. Marathon has a good art style, which you are welcome to that opinion. I feel my opinion is that it's the wrong opinion, but hey, opinions are like assholes. Good gameplay. I would argue the gameplay is not terrible. It's sufficient. And an interesting universe and lore. No, didn't care. Sorry. Which none of the other 3 games here have. Concord had an interesting universe and lore just as much as Slopathon. Like, miss me with this, oh, it's different because it's Bungie making the universe and lore. Firewalk Studios had these entire movies, CG, outer space. It was supposed to be like the next big thing. They had the Amazon web series put up with it. They have all these other things connected with Concord. They have all this lore and everything. No one gave a shit. It wasn't good, thing which none of these 3 games here have. The hatred directed at Marathon is irrational. So now criticism is being directly equated with hatred. I would argue I don't hate Marathon. I am very critical of it. I don't personally like it. I don't hate it. I've said many times, if people enjoy it, I'm glad. I'm happy for them. I hope they have the greatest time in the world playing the game. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. If the thing blows doors and is the next biggest thing in gaming, I'd be like, all right, cool. I'm not going to be like, oh my God, no, that game can't be successful. No, I literally don't care. So this is a straw man argument that they're coming up with, the hatred directed. Miss me with the hatred. Push square. Sorry, haters, but Marathon is looking real good right now. Is it? I would argue, just looking at the Steam charts and the subsequent downtrodden steps as the weekend went on, is a very bad look for a game that was launching 3 days later. And now the game is coming out, and we will see just how it's received by the community. Mactix, genuinely asking, why are people giddy with the idea of Marathon failing? Who is this straw man that is giddy? I hope it fails. Where is the hope it fails? I'm sure it's out there. It's the internet. But what I'm seeing is most people are taking a measured approach to this of, hey, yeah, it's not for me. I don't think it's going to be successful. I'm not excited to dunk on it. I would argue I was excited to dunk on Yote because fuck what they did with that series. I don't have any kind of that sentiment with this game, though. It's like, whatever. Okay, if this is what the community wants, I would be surprised, but I wouldn't be angry or mad. I wouldn't be giddy if I'm right. I'd definitely probably take a victory lap across all the haters trying to dunk on me, but it wouldn't be because of the game. It would be because of how people acted with me. I can understand not liking the game, but getting incredibly excited about the prospect of it crashing and burning just sounds not psychologically normal or healthy at all. Make it make sense. I mean, people are allowed to do whatever they want to do when it comes to how they feel about a game. As long as you're not hurting people, I'm all for it. It's all just discourse and conversation that's always been around since the dawn of time when it came to gaming. They had conversations about this with the original Metroid, Kid Icarus. You go back, Ice Climbers on the NES. You go back to Atari and the Pac-Man, how people were pissed that it didn't look like the arcade. Welcome to gaming. This is the discourse that goes into it before a game launches and after it. People are welcome to have their conversations about it. That's what this is all about. If you don't want the conversation about it, turn off YouTube, turn off social media, and just go play your game. You're welcome to do that, by the way. No one is stopping anybody from doing that. Jay Viper, last week's top sellers on Steam are in, and Resident Evil took the top spot. Keep in mind, it was also number 2 the week prior, which shows how strong the release was. Marathon's Server Slam predictably pulled it up into the top 10 for the week, being beaten by Ark Survival Ascended, which released in 2023. The global top sellers today, Marathon still hasn't climbed to the top spot. Well, update to that, it has as of later today, the day before the official launch. And it has slipped to number 4. Rainbow Six Siege is 3rd for now. If Marathon needing to sell 7+ million copies to start being profitable is true, it's not looking good. We will see how long it can hold number 1 after launch, which I fully expect it to reach, which it's there now, which, yes, no one's surprised that this game is number 1. That's not like a win. That's like, obviously it's going to be number 1. The only way it wouldn't be is if people didn't buy Resident Evil 9 on launch and word of mouth spread it so everyone was buying it a couple days after it. But that didn't happen. Everyone bought it right away, so they already own it. The big questions for Marathon remain. How long can this live service keep players invested, and how many can they get in the door? On PSN, it finally got onto the bottom of the first page the day before it releases, and past Crimson Desert, which releases in 2 weeks. So very curious is the top sellers. And when he took this, it was up from number 73 the week before to number 9. Not great. Not great. And I don't know how top sellers works. If people return their pre-order or cancel their pre-order, if it doesn't count as a sale, or if they just count the sale when the sale happens. Not sure. But I'm sure after people had the stress test weekend playtest, there was, I'm confident, a larger than handful of people that decided the game was not what they thought it was going to be and canceled their pre-order. So I am curious about what the future of the sales are for Marathon. Guru Larry Bungie, in regards to Marathon managing to sell 7 to 11 million copies, less than 0.1% of video games ever released have reached that mark. Of the 14,500 games released on Steam in 2025, only 3 managed to do so. Battlefield 6, Monster Hunter Wilds, and NBA 2K26. Bungie are fucked. Guru Larry says, tell a lie, it was 6. Arc Raiders, Hollow Knight Silksong, and Schedule 1 all managed to hit 7 million sales. Okay, fair. So he updated it. So there's 3 more. So 6 games in 2025 reached the fabled 7 million sales. It's not something that just happens. It is a viral hit that is rare, to say the least. On X, I said, Marathon launch day, peak Steam DB. I asked the community. We have about 1,200 votes. And it seems like the overwhelming majority of people, over 50%, seem to think it's going to do better than 50,000 concurrent, and many saying over 100,000 concurrent. I am on the record for saying I think it's going to not get past 77,777. I've said that for weeks now. I don't know if I'm going to be way off on that or if it'll be spot on, but I'm very curious. I think it's a safe bet, a very safe bet for this game, and it goes in line with Bungie. I said I'll stick with my 77,077, but I'll take the under on that. Very curious to see. The greater gaming community seems extremely divided on this. Tebow, I'm sticking my neck out there and hanging with my initial prediction of close to 100,000. Coffee and chocolate, I'm calling under 50,000. TFT, I think based on the Surfer Slam, 50 to 100,000, since about half weren't interested in coming back. Any number way past or behind those values would be a surprise or unexpected. 100%. If it's below 50,000, I'd be shocked at this point. There's enough people, enough conversation, enough just free press talking about this to should be able to get it past the 50,000. Okay. But if it starts going past 100,000, I'd be like, whoa. So the people that decided they didn't want to play it anymore on the free play came back and bought it and played it on launch with nothing changing? I would be very surprised if that happened. Very surprised. Rock solid. Bungie shits in their players' mouths, retroactively removes paid content, screws over their talent, destroys their own player base and nickels and dimes their own players and developers for years. But won't somebody think of the developers? Fuck off. Let it die. Mighty Keef, this is what I'm talking about with the cope. He's so mad at other people. This is such incredibly weird behavior. Not liking a gaming company is completely fine. Hoping that hundreds of devs, people whom have nothing to do with the decision-making of upper management, just loses their jobs is incredibly weird. It doesn't fix your life at all. I would argue this is the whole toxic positivity. Stop hoping for everyone to lose their jobs. That's like saying just hope for everyone to be successful. Like, no, bro, you can't do that either. How about just let the game come out and let the chips fall where they may? This is the chart I'm talking about. On the free-to-play Server Slam weekend, that's not a good line at all. This should severely concern Bungie and Sony. It should surpass 50K on launch day, but looking at this chart and how it ended, that's not guaranteed. And there are people taking victory laps right now and acting like anyone daring to talk about this game not in the most positive light is someone that's just a hater. People have played this game. They understand what to expect, and they know coming out of it. If I didn't play the game myself, I would not be having such a negative tone. But after playing it, I'm just like, yeah, no, it confirmed all my concerns and fears going into it. That doesn't mean it's not a competent game, that it doesn't do what an extraction shooter is supposed to do. I would argue it does function like an extraction shooter. It's not my style of game. People are getting mad at me because I say it's not my style of game. Where it's like, so now I have to like every game? No, but don't talk bad about it if it's not your style of game. So now I'm not allowed to say anything? Like, I can't say, hey, this game, I played it. It's not my style. I can't say that. I can't say based off of what I feel, I don't think the game is going to do well based off of what I know in the gaming realm. I can't say that either. It's weird how they're trying so hard to silence criticism and dismiss it as hate. That's how the bubbles of toxic positivity get created. That's how we get the high guards and concords. That's what I'm concerned about with Marathon. But we'll see. I'm very curious, as I'm sure many of you guys are. But for now, I'll leave that there.